Jason never thought he would become that man. For 12 years, he believed his marriage to Emily was unshakable. They built their life from nothing, a tiny apartment, second-hand furniture, late-night takeout dinners on the floor. He worked construction. She studied nursing. They promised each other that once life got easier, they'd finally breathe. But life didn't get easier. It got busier. Long hours turned into silent dinners. Small talks turned into phone scrolling. Love turned into routine. Jason felt her drifting long before he knew why. She smiled less, touched him less, started guarding her phone like it held state secrets. He told himself it was stress, until the night he came home early. A man's jacket hung on their hallway hook. Not his. Jason's chest tightened. He heard laughter from the kitchen, soft, intimate, unfamiliar. When he walked in, the world froze. Emily stood there, and beside her, another man. The silence that followed felt louder than any scream. The man left quickly, mumbling apologies. Emily tried to explain, said it just happened, said she felt lonely, said she didn't mean to hurt him. But Jason heard none of it. Years of exhaustion, insecurity, and buried anger erupted in seconds. His vision blurred. His hands shook. When she reached for him, he snapped. The sound of the slap echoed through the kitchen like a gunshot. Emily fell against the counter, shocked more than hurt. Jason froze immediately, horror flooding his face. He had never hit anyone in his life. And now he had hit the woman he loved. He stumbled back, breathing hard, staring at his own hands like they belonged to someone else. Emily didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just looked at him, with quiet disappointment. That look hurt more than the betrayal. Jason left the house that night. He drove for hours, rage slowly dissolving into shame. By sunrise, anger was gone, replaced by something heavier. Guilt. Days passed with no contact, until a letter arrived. Not divorce papers, like he expected. A handwritten note. Emily asked him to meet her at the hospital where she worked. "You deserve the truth," it said. Confused, Jason went. She looked tired, but calm. There was a softness in her eyes he hadn't seen in months. Then she told him everything. The affair wasn't what it looked like. The man Jason saw, he wasn't her lover. He was a grief counselor. Emily had been attending therapy in secret for nearly a year. Because she was dying. Stage 3 heart failure. Genetic. Untreatable without a transplant, and donors were unlikely. She hadn't told Jason because she didn't want his life to revolve around hospitals and countdowns. She wanted their last year to feel normal. The emotional distance he felt was her preparing herself to let go. The night he came home early, she had just received news that her condition worsened. The counselor stayed late because she broke down. Jason felt the floor disappear beneath him. His anger, his accusation, the slap, all of it built on a lie he created in his own fear. He collapsed into a chair, shaking, tears finally breaking through. "I hurt you when you were already hurting," he whispered. Emily took his hand gently. "You hurt me," she said softly. "But you also showed me how much pain we were both hiding." Then came the twist neither expected. A week later, the hospital called. A donor heart became available, last minute, rare, but compatible. Surgery was risky, but it worked. Months of recovery followed. Therapy, for both of them, too. Jason took accountability for that night. Anger management. Counseling. He refused to let that moment define who he was again. Emily healed physically. Their marriage healed slowly, scarred, but honest. One evening, sitting on their porch like the old days, Emily placed his hand over her chest. He felt the steady heartbeat beneath his palm. "Second chances are strange," she smiled. "Sometimes they come with someone else's heart, and someone else's lessons." Jason nodded, eyes wet. "The night everything broke," he said quietly, "was the night we finally faced the truth." They didn't pretend the past never happened. They grew from it. Because love isn't proven in perfect moments, but in what you choose to rebuild after everything falls apart. Recovery changed everything, not just for Emily, but for Jason too. The house felt different once she returned from the hospital. Quieter, but warmer. Every small moment carried weight now. Morning coffee together felt sacred. But healing wasn't linear. Some nights Jason still woke up shaking, replaying the moment he almost lost her. To cope, he began writing letters he never planned to give her, apologies, fears, promises to be better. One evening Emily found the notebook. She read only one page, and cried, not from pain, but from seeing how deeply he was trying to change. Soon after, they met the parents of Daniel, the donor whose heart saved her life. When Emily let his mother place a hand over her chest, the woman wept, smiling through tears. "He always had a strong heart," she whispered. On the drive home, Emily said quietly, "I feel responsible for living well now, like I carry two lives." That feeling led to another turning point. They decided to foster a child, to honor the life that gave them a second chance. Marcus, a guarded 10-year-old boy, entered their home carrying anger and fear. But Jason met him with patience instead of temper, proof of how much he'd changed. One night Marcus asked, "Why did you take me in?" Jason answered softly, "Because someone gave us a second chance. And we don't waste second chances here." Years later, their home was filled with laughter again. One evening on the porch, Emily placed Jason's hand over her heart. "Still strong. Still steady. The worst night of our lives built all of this," she said. Jason nodded. Everything broke, so everything real could begin. Spring arrived quietly, the way healing often does, unnoticed at first, then suddenly everywhere. Marcus had been living with them for almost a year when the school called one afternoon. Jason's chest tightened the moment he saw the number. Fear still lived in him, a shadow he carried. But this time, the news was different. Marcus had stood up for another boy being bullied. Not with fists, but with words. Brave. When Jason and Emily picked him up, Marcus shrugged, pretending it was nothing. "I just didn't want him to feel alone," he muttered. That night, after Marcus fell asleep on the couch, Jason sat beside Emily in silence. "He's better than I was," Jason said quietly. Emily shook her head. "No," she whispered, placing her hand over his. "He's better because you chose to become better." Months later, the adoption became official. In the courtroom, Marcus held both their hands tightly, afraid they might disappear. But they didn't. Outside, under bright California sun, Marcus asked if they could take a family photo. As Jason wrapped an arm around his son and Emily leaned into him, he felt it fully for the first time: peace. Not the absence of guilt, but the presence of purpose. The past would never vanish. But it no longer controlled their future. Because the man who once destroyed his family had become the man who rebuilt one.